Welcome, car enthusiasts, to the Bullitt Chronicles. This is going to be episode 5. I feel the need for speed. This will finally be an exciting episode because we'll be doing some actual driving in the 2019 Mustang Bullitt today. We're going to be doing some 0 to 60 times, 0 to 100 times, and also braking from 60 to 0. So stay tuned for a very exciting episode number 5. Before I let you see my actual acceleration times and braking times, I need to go over the proper procedure for setting the instrument panel up for acceleration and for braking. Currently, we have the car in normal mode. And I'll move up here to show you what the gauge cluster does when we change to the different modes. So from normal to sport mode to track, and then you see the traction control comes off automatically when you go into the track mode, but in the drag strip mode it still is on automatically. And then there's the snow and wet mode. So we'll go back to the normal mode. So you can do 0 to 60 times in the normal mode, which is new to me. What you would do to get to the track apps at this point is just hit the pony on the steering wheel, and that will bring up track apps. Hit OK. And then since we're trying to do acceleration times, you hit OK again. And what comes up is quarter mile, which is what I put in the last time. So what you'd have to do to get out of that is hit the up arrow on the steering wheel on the right. And that will bring up all your other times that are available. You got 0 to 30, 0 to 60, 0 to 100. 1/8 of a mile, keep toggling down, and then you have a quarter mile, and then you hit OK. And then what you would do from there is put your car in first gear, and then once you hit the OK button, the timer is going to start until you hit the quarter mile. And then once you hit the quarter mile, you don't really have to do anything. If you want to do it again and repeat the quarter mile, just hit the OK button on your steering wheel, and that will reset all your times for doing the quarter mile again. You don't have to go through the pony and set everything up again unless you wanted to do something other than the quarter mile race. You could set it back to 0 to 30 or 0 to 60, then you would have to go back to the pony in order to do that. Okay, now the procedure is very similar for the braking timer to be used. Again, you would hit the toggle switch on the right side depending on what mode you wanted to put it in. So we're going to go up. Let's say we'll put it in Sport Plus mode. Okay, and then again we're going to drop down to the pony on the steering wheel, click the button, and then you got your track apps. You'll hit OK on the steering wheel again, but this time we're going to drop down and highlight brake performance. Hit OK. You've got two choices. You got 60 to 0 or 100 to 0, and then you hit the OK button. And then the brake performance, once you get up to 60, you can slowly accelerate up to 59, just hang it right there. But the minute you hit 60, you need to slam on the brakes, because that's when the timing starts and the distance that you covered. And it's kind of tricky to do, actually. So I have a lot of respect for these people that have their own TV shows that demonstrating these 70 to 0 or 60 to 0 stop times, because in a stick shift car it takes a lot of coordination to either slam on the brake and then put it in neutral, or shove in the clutch, so that doesn't impact on your slowdown times. The conditions I was working out of were, I was using the original Pilot 4S tires on the car. I measured the tire pressure before starting, and it was 32 psi. Temperature outside was 61 degrees and clear, and the road was flat and level. Folks, we got some very valuable data here that you won't find anywhere else. You can see by the snapshot screen here that you can run the car up to 44 miles an hour at 6,600 RPM in first gear, and then second gear you can go all the way up to 70 miles an hour and you're turning 6,670 RPM. And then throw it into third gear and you can run that car all the way up to 100 miles an hour safely, and you're turning 6,520 on the RPM scale. And then lastly, you can go into fourth gear and then you're just turning 4,550 on the RPM scale. Folks, I want you to go back and listen to every 0 to 60 launch, how the car bogs down, stutters, or hesitates before launching. I tried different things to get the car to launch properly, revving the motor all the way up to 2,500 RPMs before launching, 2,000 RPM at idle, and it did it despite whatever I was trying to do. I found this valuable car and driver review on the car. They noted the same problem. It's hard to launch well, and it wants to bog or boil. I'm not sure what they mean by boil, or if you try to warm up the tires or whatever, the car overheats and then it just won't launch at all. This is a known problem, and I'm going to have to work on being able to launch this car better to be able to get the 0 to 60 times down to 4.4 seconds. The car tip of the day is how to calculate pretty closely what your car will do 0 to 60 just by using this mathematical formula. You need to be able to calculate out how many pounds per horsepower the car has. So as an example, the Ford Mustang Bullitt calculates out to 8 pounds per horsepower. You divide that 8 by 2, you get 4. So the 0 to 60 time should be at 4 seconds in this car, but the fastest they've been able to do it is 4.4. And yet, if you look at the regular 5.0 Mustang, it is able to do 0 to 60 in 3.8 seconds with its 8-speed or 10-speed automatics that they have in them. Just by changing out the transmission is enough to give you a faster 0 to 60 time. As an example to use on other cars, Nissan Maxima 2019 has 12.2 pounds per horsepower, and calculates out to a 6.1 second 0 to 60 time, which is what's been reported. Drop down to a 2010 SS Camaro, has 455 horsepower, and it's a 6-speed, and calculates out to 9.06 pounds per horsepower. Divide by 2, you get 4.5, 0 to 60 time, and that's what's been reported. Looking at a Chevy Corvette, 2018 model, weighs 3,298 pounds with a 460 horsepower motor. Comes out to 7.16 pounds per horsepower. Divide by 2, and that gives you 3.5 second 0 to 60. Been reported that it can do 3.4. So again, the formula does work. But the car cannot be turbo, supercharged, pro-charged. It can't have 8 to 10 speeds. It can't have the engine in the rear. It can't have any of these things that would make the car faster. This is a formula for just a basic car that has the engine in the front. As you can see, folks, I'm going to need some practice on doing my 0 to 60 times, maybe using the launch control setting next time, and then also on the braking times, see if we can get that down to around 110 to 105 feet for the 60 to 0 time. Anyway, stay tuned for the next episode. It's going to be called I've Been Everywhere, Man, and it's about where this car has been since day one that I purchased it. Good day.